Hello everyone and welcome back to the series. In this episode, I just want to give you an update on how the project is going and explain the little pause I had in making these videos. So I hope this video would be short because there aren't much codes or business logic involved. I didn't totally pause working on the project in past few months, but during my new developments, I realized a lot of things that I have explained in previous videos has changed perhaps drastically. And that made me wonder if it's a good idea to share information or a progress that is false or broken. I think this is something that all of us face in our path, but I don't know if it's a good idea to have a series about making the database from scratch on top of false information. So I have decided to only make videos when the progress I made in a specific part of the application can make some sense. Of course, I will never be sure if something needs a change in future, but I think I can have a sense on whether if something is stable or broken. What this means is that you will probably see less videos describing topics or logics that haven't been fully completed or at least used and tested enough. But this will still be challenging since sometimes I just code first to help me see the bigger picture, and when I finally see that bigger picture, I may realize that I have been doing it all wrong. And this is perhaps a flaw that I have, but I don't want to bring you guys into that world. With all of these points in mind, I want to give you a little bit of update on the project. So here you can see the Git log of the work I have done in the past 2 months. And I want to start from here. This commit is simplified header manager logic, and I have bounded the header manager logic to index storage manager. So you can see here I have introduced index header manager factory, and basically the idea is that each index storage manager controls the way the header manager works. And if you want to remember these topics, you should go back to previous videos, but I think they should be clear for you if we are watching this series video by video. And the next important commit here is implementing the database storage manager, which we will definitely have a deeper look at in next few episodes. And the algorithm I'm using here is called page buffer, or maybe I'm just calling it like that, I don't know. So the idea is that we can have a database storage manager interface like this, which can store some byte array of data with a version into a collection ID and return a pointer, which this pointer is later used in our B+tree. And we can update an object if we know the pointer to it. We can select an object using the pointer, and we can also remove an object. So the next commit here is that we have renamed table to index. Actually, I have removed the concept of tables altogether. I'm calling the tables collections. It's like the collections in MongoDB database. And this commit is about updating the index manager. So each index manager instance should be created per each field in a collection that is indexed. And we don't just create index managers per tables. So if you have watched previous videos, you should now know that this topic has changed. Later, I have fixed some of the problems with allocating a space in index storage managers. Also, before I explain to you these commits here, you can see this one that index managers are created per index and not a collection. And here I have also removed extended file index storage manager. If you want to know what that was, you can take a look at previous videos, but I thought it doesn't make any sense and it's just useless, so I have removed it. And at this point, the two implementations we have of index storage manager are organized file index storage manager and compact file index storage manager. And again, if you take a look back to previous videos, you know the difference between these two, and they both extend the base file index storage manager. So in these commits here, I have initialized something named scheme. It is exactly the database scheme that we have in different database implementations. And how so far I have thought the scheme works here is that we have a scheme which has a database name and a version, and the scheme should only be updated if you update the version. And each scheme has some collections, a list of collections, and the collection has an ID and a name and some fields. A field itself has an ID, has a name, it has a type, it has a meta, which we will take a look at. The field could be the primary field, which in that case, a cluster B+3 index will be used. The field could be indexed. If it is primary, it is definitely indexed as well. And my next work will be about unique indexes. So I haven't worked on that yet. And it can have a default value. And one more element, which is kind of sketchy, it may not make sense for now, which tells if this field supports 0, which will be used during the serialization. To take a look at the meta, a field can have a comment, it can have a max size, and it can also have a minimum and maximum value, which is different than the size. And if it is a string, it may have a character set, which by default is UTF-8. And from here on, I have worked on something called Scheme Manager. And the idea of the Scheme Manager is to accept a new scheme, compare it to the old one, and update the database if there are any updates needed. For example, it may remove some fields, it may index new fields, remove indexes, things like that. Also, if you remember previous videos, we had a class called Immutable Binary Object Wrapper, which the name didn't make any sense again, and I have renamed it to Index Binary Object. And also I have used the factory pattern. So in different places in the code, we will be able to create index binary object instances using the factory class of each index binary object instance. Anyways, don't worry if these changes look a lot. We will definitely cover each of these changes and these topics more deeply in next videos. Also, as always, I encourage you to take a look at the code, maybe clone the repository, run the code yourself, run some tests, read it, and comment down any questions that you have. I'm sure the parts of the code that I've made videos on, like anything about indexes, will make sense to you more than other topics that are new and I haven't made videos about yet. Anyways, I hope that this video has helped. And if you have any questions or suggestions, leave down a comment. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next video, take care.